So, my name is Frank Donnelly. I'm president of Wärtsilä North America, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the 2011 PowerGen. At this year's PowerGen, we at Wärtsilä are pleased to introduce our new Smart Power generation, which is quickly becoming the most talked about advancement in the utility industry.
I'm going to talk about dispatch modeling and how do we can quantify the flexibility benefits of flexible power generation. So what is, first of all, what is dispatching? Dispatching is a forecasting, a long-term forecasting on the load demand beyond the one-day horizon. It's about intermittent generation. What is the wind going to be doing next week? How is the solar patterns during this season? And it's also about availability of the power plants. Which power plants will be in a maintenance next month, next week?
The power plant of the future, the smart power plant, exists already in some places in the United States. So, as I said in the beginning, the US people are clever people, energetic people. So some of you have made the decision already, and I hope that more of you will make the same decision. Please read our book. It's a simple book written by somebody from the Netherlands, not with such a big brain as the Americans, but I think like the new generation of Americans, smart generation of Americans, will hopefully use smart power generation. Thank you for your attention. If you stay, you can get a free smart power generation book. Thank you.
So we're here at PowerGen International with Bill Pulpit. We just had our book launch at the Smart Power Generation. So Bill, what do you think is the most pressing issues today in the U.S. power generation industry?
Well, the indecision over what the future fuels use is going to be is a big deal. And here, you know, we're schizophrenic over whether or not to use coal or not right now. A whole lot of people retiring coal. And, you know, also the resurgence of natural gas. You know, 5 years ago we had no gas. All of a sudden it's everywhere. I'm not sure I believe it, but I'm old enough to remember the energy crises. And people say, what energy crisis? We got gas for 200 years. I'm not sure I believe it, okay? But now you guys with the engines, you know, I think you've got a niche, and you've got a major niche in a lot of places. I know certainly in a lot of the developing countries you've got a huge niche, and I know you're doing a lot of work in Africa and other places. In this country, I don't know. Your heat rates are so good. That's why people got to look at you, you know?
Yeah, we're looking at doing a lot of wind integration and maybe some of the coal replacement as well. Do you think there'll be a lot of coal being retired soon?
I think there will be, or there'll be a threat of it. Now, if gas prices were ever to take a tick up, they would stop that and take a second look at putting the pollution control back on the coal. But I think there's a lot of mid-sized coal plants that will go away.
Yeah. And Carl, what's the most pressing issues you think in the industry today, in the U.S. power industry?
Well, I think in the U.S. power industry we're still struggling to figure out what the framework is going to look like. And as a result of that, you have a lot of companies. There's going to be a big shakeout in the industry. And I think in the renewable space, we're in for a pretty rocky ride in the next 3 to 5 years. But with that rocky ride comes a lot of interesting opportunities. And I think in the next 5 years, we're really going to define how much of a role renewable energy is going to play in the next 20, 25 years.
When you mean a shakeout, are you talking about the renewable suppliers or the utilities?
Well, I think the expiration of some of the credits is going to put more pressure. Now, there have been some advances in terms of the costs and costs coming down, but we still don't have feed-in tariffs to support some of the smaller projects. I think the regulatory framework is kind of patchy, and I think that the margins have come down, and a lot of the larger companies are going to come in and step in a big way and pick up some of the smaller struggling companies. So it could be that we'd have just a handful of known companies that are in the solar space or the wind space in 5 years. And of course you have the whole integration issue, which I know you guys are all on top of, which is the more and more renewable power that comes in, especially the intermittent sources of energy, the more there is a need for something like the flexible power systems that you guys have. But it's really changing the legal and regulatory landscape as well. Some of these issues were really not anticipated 5 years ago when everyone was saying renewable.